Hey there. I hope you're doing well today. I am having a lot of thoughts floating around in my head. I've been on a staycation that was intended to be time spent with my grandma, but she passed away this weekend. And so um, I enjoyed yesterday. It was a really nice day to just sort of, I don't know, ease into what it's like to actually have time where I can do whatever I want, which is a little uncomfortable because, like, I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to do? There's this desire to be relying more on shoulds than wants because it's so unfamiliar to me. So I played around with some craft stuff and I took a nap. I had some sloppy eating, but in general, it was a much better day than I've had in a long time. And it never fails whenever I start to get on plan with food. The quiet voice of my soul starts to become louder. And this is something that is difficult for me because I find that even though it's my soul's call and it always brings me joy to follow it, it's very scary. And so usually the first thing I want to do is eat. So I've been having a lot of kind of back and forth between the joy of possibility with what my soul is talking about and also, well, maybe I'll just eat something. And so I guess I just have to be honest about what's going on because that's the whole point of this thing. So when I moved to the city I'm in now, I had over a couple of years been thinking about the state, North Carolina, for, like a couple of years, and it was just kind of hanging out in the back of my mind. No particular reason. I didn't know anyone who lived here. It was just kind of a thought that just kept hanging out and was persistent, and not like a mean thought or you have to go there. It was just a curiosity. I was totally curious. And I would say about 2 years ago, I started thinking about Chicago. And I looked into jobs there. I've been really attracted to the city in general because it is more of a bustling city. The architecture is beautiful. I know that the weather can be bitter cold, and that's usually what everyone brings up, which is so funny because I would probably hate it. But I also know that weather is not normally, for me, a determining factor. It's usually gut and vision and joy factor, I guess is the best way to put it. So I have the rest of the week off, and I am considering hopping in my car and driving to Chicago to visit Chicago to explore whether or not I'm going to move there. And that's really scary to admit because, once I start talking about it in the real, I kind of have to do it. And not because I have to, I'm like bad if I don't, but it's like making a promise to your beloved child or your loved one, like once you sort of set it in stone, it's like, oh wow, I can't go back on that now. So I'm thinking about, I'm really short on money, so I'm thinking about actually asking my parents, because they were going to pay for my plane ticket to go to my grandma's memorial. I'm going to find out if they would be at all willing to just donate that to the Visit Chicago Fund instead. And I know that may seem really selfish, but there are a few things about my grandma that I know to be true. One is that she didn't like a lot of pomp and circumstance. So as far as she's concerned, I don't think that she would really mind if I didn't go to her memorial. Especially because I think that another thing about my grandma is that she was a believer in doing what you thought you should do. And she was a supporter of that. She wasn't a staunch supporter. She was not a, listen to your soul, follow your soul type of person by any means. She was much more balanced in that sense. But she definitely was supportive of people when they had desires and dreams. And so I kind of feel like doing this would be a dedication to her too. Um, and I can tell that this is something that I need to do because I don't want to do it. I do want to do it, but I don't. It's very scary to explore possible new horizons. I like my life here. I say that, and of course, I'm miserable in it half the time, but um, I do feel like I'm starting to stagnate a little bit here. And I know that part of that is my own doing, but I also know that I've explored a lot of different avenues here in Wilmington, and it's starting to feel a little dead. And the city itself is not. It's just what my relationship with it is. And that's changing and morphing. And that's hard because I don't want that to be the case. But that's what I'm experiencing. So that's kind of what's been going on for me. And even though it brings up the desire to eat, I do know that not doing it makes me want to eat even more, because it's like when you start to get connected with your higher power, when I do, that voice of curiosity and wonder is really strong. And it becomes louder because I'm more connected. And again, it's not a mean loud, it's just a, hey, this is life we're living. Like, life is to be lived. Woo! All right, so really quickly, the one paragraph that's next in chapter 2 for the EDA literature is as follows. In order to find hope of recovery, we first had to admit we had a problem. Then we had to take action to put ourselves on a different footing with life and a different understanding of our place in it. Admitting we had a problem was hardly sufficient by itself, but it was a good first step. And that's totally true for me. I mean, I hate admitting that I need help or that I have a problem. But the longer I stay in denial about it, the more I stagnate. Again, it's just this idea of growth only being possible if I recognize the need for growth and the area of growth that I'm desiring, and then I know how to start to figure out, how do I go in that direction. So I am still very much aware of the fact that I am in recovery from an eating disorder, and that has been and could be for quite a while a very real problem for me. And so I want to spend today taking care of that and being mindful of the ways that I can nurture growth and health rather than just stagnation. So, all right. I wish you a wonderful day, and thanks for being on the other end. Lots of love.